Okay, so Tadgh, when you're ready.
Tadgh duty.
Great. Okay, well thanks for this, Tadgh. A lot of stuff about movement. You seem to be...
Yeah. Well, I couldn't really, because I didn't know what details to like, and I didn't go into any details of their personal life, whatever, so I felt like movement was like because that's the first thing you really see, and that's kind of how I remember them.
Yeah.
As people, so,
yeah. Well, I think it's a good way in, you know, and I think how the way we kind of communicate with the world often is physically, you know, or how we're understood, or how we're perceived is through our physicality. So I'm going to toggle between all three of these, and I'll come back and forth. But I'm just going to look at the movement through all three, and then we'll talk a little bit about that. So the first one moves very much in his neck and walks from the neck.
Yeah.
This really intrigued me.
Right.
Describe this to me.
So like he's a very posh fella, and he's really tall. So and I feel like he knows it. Like he's confident enough, but he's always literally like kind of bending forward, but like always kind of going forward, and he's always like kind of moving quickly enough that it's like he's very direct. Like there's no crackling at all. Like he's just literally, he's so serious as well.
Yeah.
So it's really like he's so businessy that he's like just kind of marching through rooms like head first, like leaning in, so he can get in as quickly as possible, do what he needs to do, and like leave then.
Okay, so when you say move, it's literally leaning forward,
like fully like in his neck, like leading from that, yeah.
Okay, so a sense of a kind of forward momentum.
Yes, yeah.
Driving him all the time. Just,
yes.
Almost as if he's magnetised by what's in front of him.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. And he's very conscious of hierarchy.
Yeah, he doesn't talk, he doesn't give me like the light of day or whatever, talk to him at all. And like he's my higher up, but he's...
When you say higher up?
I work for him. Like,
I see. Yeah.
So like he is my higher up, but he doesn't have the same like way about him that like my boss, who I work with more, has, who's like the second person I wrote about. So, but he's very like, he'll only talk to like the managers working, and like the people who are like more in charge. He won't like ask me how I'm getting on or whatever. He'll like maybe give them a few lines or whatever, but he doesn't like stay there for any like niceties or whatever. So
okay. So it's very like very perfunctory. Yeah. The relationship.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. So you say he's very tall, and does he stand his height?
He does, yeah. He stands his height, and he stands like even lifting like his chin up a bit, so he's even like he makes himself like even taller or whatever, because he has I don't know, responsibility or whatever. So he's very like, he does stand his height.
Okay, so, yeah. That's interesting, because a lot of people who are very tall, they try to conceal it or compensate for it some way. So that's interesting. I've got a quite strong image of the energy. And does he move quite quickly?
Very, very quick. Very trying to get everything done, and like very, very under time pressure. I would say, as if like he's always on a deadline. So he moves like really quick and like direct.
Okay. And how does that? When you're around him, how does that make you feel?
It's a really weird thing, because like you'll be talking to him and you'll have everything under control and you won't be like panicking or whatever, and then you'll talk to him and he's so like, well, we gotta get this done, we gotta do this, and it's always like a million things after what you're already doing, so it kind of puts you under pressure. So you feel stressed talking to him then, because he's all big and professional, and he's always trying to get stuff done or whatever.
Okay, so he'll radiate his stress out.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. And he'll make other people stressed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. So just moving on to the second guy.
Yeah.
His energy comes from his head.
Yeah.
And he is very in his body.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about
really like animated and like really expressive and everything. He's super like friendly as well. So it's like he's like giving you gestures, he's doing little dances and everything. He's a really friendly character, and he's really like fun to be around. So he's like kind of bouncy and stuff. And it's really like it's so easy to be around him, because it makes you feel calm or whatever. because he's like, if he's having that much fun and he's that relaxed, then that like leads into you and you feel more relaxed.
So in contrast, but similar to the other guy, he radiates out this energy that infects other people.
Yeah, and like they're very like similar levels of important. But I'd say the second character knows he has a bit more experience in life that isn't just the same thing. Like the first guy, he's very business. He grew up studying business or whatever, and he's very like well off and posh. And then the second guy, he was in the army, and then he was working on festivals, and he just worked everywhere, like around the shop. So he has so much experience, and he knows so many different people. Okay. And you can tell by him because he's so calm with like everyone like on the planet, and he's so friendly.
So more life experience.
Much more life experience.
Much more rounded.
Yeah, but like similar ages, like the same.
Oh, so okay, right. Yeah. So what kind of age?
55, 50s.
Okay. It's funny because the first guy I imagine being quite younger.
Oh,
that's interesting. A very friendly person, meets everyone's gaze and treats everyone with warmth and respect.
Yeah.
Okay, so he brings you into it.
Yeah, absolutely. And like it's because if you're going to be working with him, like he kind of wants you to be as comfortable, because he doesn't want you to have any time being nervous or whatever. So, and if there's always a deadline, he meets deadlines in a very different way than the first character. So he's very like, he's conscious of a deadline, but it never like, he's still so polite, and he's still like so like, oh well, we can have a bit of fun while we're doing that kind of thing. And he's very just like matches people's energy, and like, or he'll even joke with you and like bring your energy up when you're like talking to him. So he's a really
because he knows that's more, it's also more productive.
It's almost it's so much more productive. And I guess like if he would like being in the army or whatever, like that's how you'd get through it more so, because it's such a stressful like kind of And he talks about that a lot.
Well, it's interesting. There's a thing called, I think it's called standard operating procedure, which is something that you learn in the army. Tiger Woods' father was in the army, and he taught him about this, and it's about how you remain calm under pressure.
Yeah.
So he would, like when he was training Tiger Woods, he would shout at him and he'd put him off, and try to put him off his swing, and so he developed this way of coping with stressful situations without absorbing that stress.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, it did play out in other ways with Tadgh, and it came out in other ways, but it's an interesting thing, because you have to be cool on the fire.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to think clearly and rationally. And it's definitely something that you were taught in the military. So what did he do?
He was a paratrooper, so he did a bunch of different things, but he and his friends would like jump out of a plane, and they'd have to get gear set up like on the field or whatever. So his friends specifically, and I remember he would like help with it. They set up mortar, so they would set up the thing that go on the ground, and then they put the bomb in, and then they like shoot it off, and they would have to like take it out of the ground really quickly, and then run off, so that like there would be no fire returned. I don't think he was like ever like he was more kind of like in the reserves or whatever, but he was there for like 4 years, so he learned like a lot doing it.
Okay.
But it was mainly like paratrooper, so he'd be jumping out of planes and everything.
Yeah. Very, very stressful and very high functioning.
Yeah.
But I think also the teamwork is interesting.
Yes.
Because you have to work as, you have to take care of the guy in front of you, because the guy behind you is taking care of you.
Yeah.
So there's a kind of chain. Okay, so that's interesting. That's something we might look at. So just moving on to the next guy. Again, the physicality leads from his chest, almost protruding out, constantly making jokes that rely on wordplay. Yeah. I'm interested in this.
He was like, he would always like make like little like puns or whatever. It was the weirdest thing like in class, because he was my history teacher, and then like he was the weirdest guy ever. He just like, he'd be doing something, and then he'd like either quote something from a movie, which is like something my friends would do, but he would do it with like no like crack, and you couldn't like respond or like laugh. He'd just be like, and then he'd move on. It was the weirdest thing, because you were like, did that even just happen? It was so strange. And I remember he would tell this joke where he'd be like, he just stopped in the middle of class and he'd be teaching, and then he'd just go, "Mammy and Daddy Tomato are walking on a path, and their little baby tomato is way behind them." And they turn to him and they go, "Ketchup." And then he would just say that. And it was like, it wasn't even that funny, but he would say it with such rage. He would say it dead serious when we were talking about like the Nazis or something. So you'd just be like, ha. And it was the weirdest thing.
Would it be related to?
No, it would never be related. It would just be, he would just do it. Okay. It was the weirdest thing. And then he'd be like, "Do you like my joke?" And he'd go up to like one person in the class and he'd just stand over them and be like, "Did you like my joke?" And then they'd be like, "Yeah." And then he'd be like, "Good." And then he'd walk away and you're just like, he's so weird. Like, and then we'd get out of class and then we had like so many jokes about him, but he was so like, it wasn't even a place of like disliking him or liking him. It was just so strange. He was so weird, yeah.
So basically deep understanding of history and how events influenced other events.
Yeah, so he was an insanely knowledgeable teacher and like a really, really good teacher. Because the way I learn, I kind of need things, like I need to know everything about someone to go into it. But like, so we'd learn about independence, or like Irish independence, and we'd be doing that in history. And then like he would know one freedom fighter that helped in like, or was in the next rebellion or something like that going into Ireland. And he would say how that one fighter would know the leaders of the rebellion they were on, and how that would like influence the next, like the Easter Rising or whatever. So if there was someone who knew like Padraig Pearse, they would take on Padraig Pearse's like ideals and then like move forward when they were fighting like with Michael Collins or whatever or something like that. And it was just like, he was so fiercely knowledgeable about it. And he'd be talking like about the presidents and like of America and everything. And he had such a deep understanding of how like their foreign policies like affected, like Vietnam for an example. Like he knew so much about like how JFK implemented policies or whatever, and he was so charismatic that he's still remembered as being charismatic, even though objectively he didn't do like a lot for the Vietnam War, and then he left a lot of that on LBJ's plate. And he knows so, like he can describe in depth the details that had on like LBJ, because you see all the pictures of Lyndon B. Johnson like at the end of his life where he has the mad grown out hair, and he looks like insane, and he's like, that stress could literally only come from the situation JFK like presented him with when he like died so suddenly and everything.
So he would tell you about the personalities behind this.
Yeah.
And that would bring it to life.
Yeah, and you could tell like he was so well read, like he knew so much about certain things, and like he knew, it was like you could tell he had a genuine interest in history, because he would know one specific character, and obviously he did research himself and like found their books and their memoirs and everything. I think like an example I remember, he talked about, I think the name is Bobby Newton, I don't know, but he was a Black Panther for the Black Panther Party in America. And he basically, I remember he was telling us he was doing his like final year essay for becoming a teacher, and he did it on him because he found his book that he wrote after being in the Black Panther Party, and he read that, and then he came to the conclusion that he was more just insane and just really like wanted to like rustle up a fight rather than actually wanting to fight for the civil rights of African Americans in America. So it's like crazy the stuff he would just come out, and it made it so much more interesting to learn about all that. And then you could put that in your own essays if he told you little tidbits during class. It was so interesting.
Okay, so he would fire you up then.
Yeah, essentially. Yeah.
Your interest.
Yeah, he was a really good teacher. Yeah.
Well, I think that's a particular skill to have, in particularly bringing history to life.
Yeah.
And creating context.
Yeah.
Of events, through individuals.
Yeah.
But then, relating them to, linking them to other events and creating, I suppose, the geopolitics of events, things happening in other countries, the repercussions. Okay, so that's interesting. We might have a look at somebody who's a bit of a history nut there.
Right, yeah.
Because, I think, you meet some people as well, and they're very interesting. I'm not saying this is necessarily what this character is doing, but they're just kind of chunk information. It's literally like they'll download something that they've read, and they can just, spew it out of the basin.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so we might have, how does that sound? Like
That
a
is
character
perfect.
who's a bit of a history nut. Because it can be, there can be an element of conspiracy to it.
Yeah.
But, the most interesting conspiracy theories are rooted in, a recognisable reality, which is what makes them so compelling.
I agree.
Okay, so we'll have a look at, maybe that guy. Maybe combine him a little bit with this affable, guy as well, who's, who meets everybody's gaze. So I'll see if we can, come up with a blend of something.
Yeah, I think so.
How does that sound?
That sounds really good. Yeah, because they're like the closest kind of personality-wise, but they're all so they were so different to talk to. But those would be the two most interesting to combine and everything like that. And they're both helpful in a lot of ways because I have a really deep. I like history, and I did my project on Al Capone, and then I'm like that where I can just spout off bits and pieces about Al Capone now because I have such a deep interest in Al Capone. Yeah, so it's
how you got done for tax.
Crazy.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool. You might even get a bit of Al Capone in there as well.
Perfect.
All right. Thanks, Tadgh. I'll just pause that there if I can.